too soon to let go. It's too high. You're stuck in my dreams.
What's going on, everybody? Pat DeBear here. It is Thursday night, and we are ready for the small business spotlight to take off those melodic tones you were just hearing as we got ready for this stream. As the stream started, is probably now my new favorite song by today's guest. Before we get into all of that good stuff, just a big thank you. I do this every single week just because, honestly, in the world today and how everything is going, it's kind of crazy to figure out how to do everything and to connect with people and stay relevant. And we're going to talk about that more today, obviously. And that's been a big part of why the Small Business Spotlight is even around. And doing digital game night on Monday and Wednesday has been phenomenal. And the fact that y'all come out and partake in the games and keep us rolling in the comments is just fantastic. So a big thank you to that, to all of you for that. So today it's the Small Business Spotlight, and one of the biggest things that has happened in this COVID-19 world is that with our bars being shut down, our live entertainment being shut down, that not only is it businesses that aren't able to do as much as they used to do, but our musicians and our independent artists and our indie artists and all of that are all of those musicians and artists are not able to spread their talent with the world in the same way. So we are going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about how music permeates into the world in a COVID-19 era with a new friend of mine, somebody that was introduced to me through a good friend, Jaden, who I've talked about in the last couple of weeks because most of these people that I've been talking to, these new friends that I'm making are through him. So it's much appreciated for that introduction. But I am excited. Without further ado, we are going to bring onto the show the person we're going to be chatting with today, who is also streaming this on her Instagram Live. And we're doing multiple streams for all of this. So it is my pleasure to bring onto the Small Business Spotlight. This is Sugar Joiko. Hi, Sugar.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, it's great to. Listen, I am so excited. I have been dancing around my apartment to your music all day today. Yes. I was playing Your Love as a little bed to start off the show because honestly, as soon as I heard that song, I was like, I'm in, sold, done. All right, that's it.
That sounds so happy to hear that. That's my
good.
baby.
Yay, I love it. And when I was listening to I forget which song exactly it was, but I sat there and I was like, wait a minute, this totally is giving me Christina Milian. And
her career was so short-lived that I'm so angry about it every single moment I think of it. I think she's immensely talented. I love Christina, and she could dance. She was really good.
Because I mean, a lot of people, when you say it, if they remember Christina Milian, they're like, "Oh, dip it low," and I'm like, "Wait up, AM to PM, baby. Let's get it right. If you're gonna talk about Christina Milian, I need to talk about AM to PM."
Real talk.
Listen. You know, as white as I am half Puerto Rican, and I love me some. I love me some good danceable music. So I may not always have rhythm, but I will try to dance. So I in advance, I'm going to let people know I am going to be trying to do this. For some reason, I think my side of the technology is being a little wonky. So when I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to try not to talk as much. I can do, sometimes I talk a little, but I'm going to also then try to mute my mic to give Sugar Joiko as much audio as possible. So the last thing that I really want to put out there to anybody that's watching, if you have any comments or questions or anything that you want to put out there, throw them into the comments. Whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, everything comes through on this side. We'll see them all. If you want to ask Sugar Joiko something, put it in the comments. We'll pop it up on the screen and go ahead and ask. So, hey, the floor is open for all of those comments. So I think the biggest thing that I want to ask and put out there and get your thoughts on is, how did Sugar Joiko come to be? What was your inspiration to do music and become an artist? You muted. Unmute it. There you go. I'm gonna mute me. I'm gonna mute me. So start your answer over again.
Okay, Chicago. So yes, I got into music. I'd actually say that music chose me. I mean, I started out playing piano when I was 8 years old, and my grandmother had an upright piano at one of her daycare centers that she owned, and I would just play at the piano every day. And then, lo and behold, discovered I could play by ear. I did classical training, and then fast forward in my life, I began composing like beats and stuff like that. So originally, I'd say that Sugar Joiko is more likely a producer first than the songbird some people give me the title of. But yeah, starting out, I was producing my own music already. My first dream was to produce music for like video games and things like that. Like that is where my heart is at. So I hope that one day, Sony or, Square can hear me. But and then I don't know, I guess I just kind of like, I don't know if this is rude to say, but as music progresses and I'm hearing different things I like, things I don't like, it was just kind of like moments where I just found myself wondering, like, what would it sound like if I tried it in my own way, and it kind of started out with covers of me singing covers in Japanese. I love Japanese culture. I would sing Japanese covers, but I guess I would put like my own spin on it. And I would like completely like reinterpret or regurgitate like the production, like the track of it, but kind of add my own twist or remix to it. And so I kind of started out in that way. And then eventually I kind of was like, well, let me try to make something original out of this. So it was kind of like, I don't know, just kind of honing in on different, I guess, tactics and different things like that. But that's kind of what grew and evolved into Sugar Joiko. And then my name itself actually does come from Japan. My friends would call me Joiko. And then my brother was like, hey, man, that's a dope name. So then he was like, Sugar Joiko. So that's how my real name is Joy. So that's how we get Joiko. But so that's kind of like the story of how I grew into, I hope, a unicorn. How I grew into where I am today.
Oh, I love it. And I'm glad that you went into the story of your name, because I was wondering, I was like, I love it. I mean, it's an awesome name regardless. And I was like, okay, Joy, I get it. Like I saw the where, like, the foundation of what it could be, but I love the fact that it's a takeoff of what your Japanese friends would call you. My ex was a huge fan of Japanese culture as well, and a friend of mine here in Chicago, Brian, is as well. And I've actually been, for the last, I don't think I did it today, but I'm on a 521 day streak on Duolingo doing Japanese. So it's it's still, some days it's really just trying to get a lesson in so I don't lose my streak, but it's a lot of fun. So you said you did a lot of covers to start out with when you got into doing the music yourself. What inspires you as a writer for the lyrics portion of it with your own music now?
That's interesting. I actually, I think compared to other singer-songwriters, I work in reverse. I kind of, the music kind of creates itself. I am like pretty much a hoarder of like music instruments and samples and VSTs and all those things. So I really just kind of press a C button and I kind of go through my entire library until I hear something that like, and then I end up like the song creates itself, if you will. So based on that feeling of that song kind of determines the lyrics, or sometimes my mood creates the music, but the music definitely comes first. And then I kind of tie lyrics into it. So most people kind of work the opposite way, but as a producer, I definitely start with music first, and how that music makes my soul feel creates the lyrics authentic to that moment. Oh, I kind of like the way I said
I
that.
like that. I like it. I like it. It's so weird for me because I'm very much lyrically driven. Like my biggest songs that I love are very much like I focus in on the lyrics of what's being said. And in listening to your music, I actually felt, and it's probably because of the fact that it's how the music moves you to then write and make these songs. But I really felt like my body kind of wanted, like, finding that groove and then enjoying, like, listening into the lyrics and all of that. So it gave me a whole different experience music wise. And it was so awesome to kind of to feel that. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. Like I said, what comes from the heart reaches the heart.
Absolutely. No, and that's phenomenal. So how, being in this COVID-19 world, and it's funny because you actually are streaming yourself having this interview on your Instagram, because not long after I reached out to you about setting up a time, you started doing live streams at this same time. So you're keeping true, and we talked about this earlier, branding and keeping a schedule and delivering what you're promising is huge. And so how are you adjusting to not having live performance venues to be able to get out there and perform?
Well, right now I've actually, I guess, just kind of using this time as a blessing in a sense. In this downtime, I have not worked much. I'm also basically a full-time dueling pianist, and that's what I do 4 nights a week, dueling piano bars. And we closed shop in March. Sorry, my Insta keeps going to sleep. My iPad keeps going to sleep on Instagram. But anyway, so not having any revenue that way, I've actually been spending this time to learn new software. I'm still writing an album. I'm working with other artists. I've been producing for other artists' albums, which in return has been inspiring me in my album. You know, like I feel like sometimes I get more creative when I'm not creating for myself. And when I'm creating for myself, I need this next hit. And it's like the pressure, and you're not really like, sometimes it's easy to kind of go into that robotic or that, that, I don't know, predetermined route that, it's more free flow. So that's been helping me. I'm excited that I'm actually recording with and co-producing my first band. So I'm pretty proud of it. I won't lie. They're called the Suffers. Look them up. They're pretty badass. They're Houston's jewel, if you will. And so I've just been kind of finding other avenues where I can express my creativity, but also produce or add more content, and just kind of using this downtime as a blessing, because now that I'm not in the piano bars, like that was 4 nights a week. So oftentimes getting to the studio would be a drag, because I've been listening to like extreme, like, venue sounds, a room full of like 350 people a night, like, those downtimes, I ended up needing that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. And then, so I'm appreciating the free time as a blessing, using this opportunity to launch off some other business adventures that I've been having on the side. So just kind of making room and, doing all the drag work while I have free time. So at least that's what I'm telling myself.
I love it. That's one of the things that I've
It's
noticed.
so overwhelming. It's real. It's so real.
Right. That it's so interesting to hear that said, because I've heard other people say that they go so hard and so like dedicated to doing stuff that when they've been forced to have to stop during all of this, that it's allowed them, one, to rest and recuperate and recharge, but also then finally work on projects and things that they were pushing off because of it, because they have a full-time job, because they have all these other things that are going on. So it's great to hear that you're taking that time to be able to push yourself to say, okay, well, you know what, let me get my vibe, let me do this, and then let me put that energy that I was putting into full-time work here into doing these other things that are also giving me so much joy and work in putting that out there into the world. And it's funny because when I was looking you up through so I'm a Google boy. I use Google Play Music, which soon will be YouTube Music. I've got to transfer all my stuff over. But I was looking you up when I was going to, because I always try to make sure that I listen to as much, if not everything, from a musician before I go into an interview, because I want to hear, one, I want to support our independent artists. That's a huge thing for me. But I want to hear the different like stylings, and because looking back and your EP, I think, was from 2016, and then there was stuff from 2018 and 2019. So it's fun for me in a sense to hear kind of the evolution of the sound, and it's always nice to get that feel. And I like to, I like to know what I'm listening to, and it makes me that much more excited and eager to put that spotlight onto artists like yourself and say, hey, go check this person out. They're phenomenal. And I encourage you, if you do not listen to Sugar Joiko yet, go do yourself go do yourself a favor. Words are tough. Go do yourself a favor and go stream it now. Okay, we'll wait until the show is over, then go stream it. But bookmark it now. So what do you? So you mentioned that you have been working with a band and that you're working on your album. What is going to be like this direction that you're going into now? Because I want to say I could hear like electro pop and an R&B-ish fusion in what you've put out already. Is that where this is still going, or are you finding a new little path to carve out in this upcoming album?
Great question. The answer is definitely. Because I've always been a pop head and a dance head and like electronic music head since I was a little girl. I grew up in the suburbs, but when I moved to a particular area called Destrehan, it was my first time going to a public school in kind of a majority white neighborhood. So I was fifth grade-ish. It was the first time I heard Backstreet Boys and like set you free, come into my planet. So, and I was just like, what is this music? I was like completely transformed. And so growing up on soul music all my life, that is where this kind of fusion comes from. And if I think that I'm doing okay at it, but I think that this next album, I'm allowing myself to be more creative. I'm allowing myself, my mom had to sit down and tell me, she's like, baby, it's time for you to stop looking at everybody else and make them look at you. So, just kind of looking into myself for my own inspiration. I think, which is a part of growth as any artist, like, because you have to watch those in front of you. You have to, you know, educate yourself on what your mentors are doing or your idols are doing. But sometimes, at least me, who has perfectionism syndrome, it's easy to kind of look at those people and want to match everything that they do, and it kind of pulls you too far from your authentic, mojo, if you will. Yeah, I'm losing my train of thought, but I think you're following me on this little trippy train. But yeah, so the next album, right now I have a title. The title I'm trying to keep. My brother also, he's obviously a very creative human being. He comes with like all my catchy shit. I'm just throwing it out there. But anyways, so far the album's kind of like retrospective, and I'm adding guitars in there. There's going to be vocoder. But there are some of that like 80s Lisa kind of dance pop going on. Like, It's like Janet Jackson meets Madonna meets Daft Punk. That's kind of, maybe a little bit of Selena, because like I love like cumbia music and stuff like that. So it's like, I know, girl. So if there's a way, like I just want to play around with all those things. And I grew up enjoying culture and language and different countries. And like, I don't know, even as a producer, which is why my dream was to produce for video games, is because it allowed you to take all those worldly like sounds and just make something groovy, but not obscure, but I don't know, creative. Hopefully you can catch where I'm trying to go here.
Listen, you had me at Lisa. That I that right there. I'm a child of the '80s, and I'm a Puerto Rican child of the '80s from New York. So freestyle music, Lisa, Sweet Sensation, all of that. Just my heart. I love it. So we've talked about the music that's coming up. We've talked about how you are dealing with a COVID-19 world as a musician. Now, for a fun question, because you've talked about music and video games. If you were able to, any video game series or specific game, if you could do the music for any particular game, what would it be and why?
Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, especially Final Fantasy X, is like hands down best like soundtrack for a video game I've ever heard in my life. Like I would literally just like wander off to like Wandering Flame, that territory, and just like sit there and just let the music play while I'm cleaning my room or studying or like, and even when Donkey Kong was a thing, like I would literally like leave games on in the middle of the night and like fall asleep listening to, like, I don't know. I was that much of a nerd, and I don't have my keyboard on, but like I can just play gamer theme songs for days. But definitely Final Fantasy. Like I just love that game. It's insane. It's what pretty much introduced me to RPGs. But if I could add on to that, an artist in video gaming I would love to work with would be Utada Hikaru. That was like my first J-pop cover artist that I ever did. Like I have the most Japanese covers of her work. And secrets out, I'm pretty sure I'm going to release a J-pop EP, but like a Utada tribute album that'll just make me faint. But future goals. But yeah, video game Final Fantasy, but like video game artists like me, Utada, and Final Fantasy, that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Fantastic. I love it. So before we went live earlier today, we were doing some sound checks and everything. And you may have mentioned that there's a new project on the horizon. Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit more about that?
I keep forgetting my mute button. Yes, I'm excited to, as we were talking about before, me being a producer, want to produce for video games. Of course, I produce for all of my music and content for myself. But as a producer, there's a lot in the archives library that isn't made for Sugar Joiko. So I'm actually using this opportunity. I've launched my production company where I'm basically selling artist beats to other artists that need music. Say, for instance, you like my style, or if there's something. Well, being a musician and a producer, I think you do all styles. Like, I feel like it's not true if you're not broadening your horizon of material or isn't interested in trying different things. So, but yes, so right now I'm also coping with COVID. A way that I'm making some income is producing for other artists. I'm also doing commercial audio branding. I've produced a basically soundtrack for a political campaign commercial. There was a politician running for district judge in Fort Bend County. And I've produced for a couple of podcast theme songs. So now they got their vibe, you know. So I'm very good at like pretty much whatever vibe or sound you hear. I'm very, thank the Lord, blessed to, you know, pretty much give you anything you need. So with that said, Joiko Productions is now open for business. It all of the proceeds are going directly to this album that I'm trying to make. So one thing, unfortunately, with COVID is that, you know, as I create this album, unfortunately, I don't have the capital to master it the way that I need it mastered. So yes, so my live streams are every Thursday. I perform live for everyone, and people give tips and donations. I'm producing for other artists that need beats or that want to do collaborations, and yeah, just trying to get this money indoors, mask on, socially distance.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Uh, so, no, there we go. That's phenomenal. I love it. I had a friend who did, who was doing something similar for a while in producing music for like podcasts and for games. They had a game company that they had founded. It was a husband and wife team, and they were doing that. And our podcast Flame On that I produce, we utilize that. So it's great to have fantastic talent out there that people can reach out to and be able to brand their podcast or give themselves a new identity and a new life. Because I'm telling you, as soon as we had that theme music, it was it felt a whole different, like a whole new podcast, because we were able to be like, this is our brand. This is what we can say is our music now, as opposed to utilizing like just enough of a song as the theme music, so that way you wouldn't get kicked off the platforms for utilizing copyrighted music. Be like 10 seconds, be like, okay, just in, and then you back out. So that's phenomenal to hear that. Congratulations on starting that. And I'm excited to see what you do in the future with all of this. Is there anything that I haven't hit on yet that you wanted to talk about, that you want to promote or let the people out there watching know about?
No, just let the people know you can find me. I think you have everything provided here. You're amazing. You know, people can find me at sugarjoiko.com for my original music and all of my original creative stuff. And I'm proud to pronounce my production company officially launched. And I'm excited to be working with other artists and other creative people going through this pandemic together as one.
I love it. How do you decide what artists that you want to work with? Because going through and listening to your music, one, I've seen, I saw that there were a couple of featured artists on your songs, but then on top of that, when I did a search just for your name, and not as artist, because like Google Play Music, if you search artist, it just gives you your stuff. And oddly enough, it had you separated into two different artists under the same name.
I need to look into that, because that might be something I need to correct on my end.
Because
Now
I'm sorry.
I used to do EDM, so I'm assuming that those might be releases or distributes through the labels that release those songs. So it might be something that I can correct. Maybe I need to tell Google. I actually mostly mess around on Spotify and Apple Music. So I need to get to know my Google Play community better.
Well, it was just funny because like your full length EP was under one category, but then like some of the newer singles, like Your Love and How I Roll, were under a different one. So when I just searched and hit enter, it gave me the full album. It gave me all the songs. It gave me all of that. But what it also did is it gave me all of the songs where you were a featured artist on, and there were all of these, like there were so many tracks that I was like, wow, okay, like that's impressive. How do you decide who you want to have on your tracks, and how do you decide on like which tracks of other people's that you want to work on?
Well, with other people, I can't say I don't turn down a project, to be honest with you. But just as I understand and respect musicians and artists as paid professionals, as long as people take care of me, I will never turn you down. As far as choosing artists on my work, I kind of approach it where, if I'm, hear what they do and their style, I approach it as in like I hear this distinct voice or this style on my song because I think of the voice as an instrument. So if someone has a song, not a song, but a voice or a vibe or a way that they play, and I'm just like, this is the timbre that I need right here in this moment. That's when I'm kind of like, hey, would you like to work together? Here's my team. Here's some money. I appreciate you. Take all the time you need. Let's make a music baby together. And then, so I definitely choose artists based on things like that. And, drive, hustle, of course, but mostly I'm looking for something complementary. Um, I know that I could work with artists with more views and followers, but it's like I'm learning now actually that when it comes to a point where I have to change what I do to accommodate their style or it pulls me too far away from what my heart is envisioning, then that's when it's kind of like, payola only. I'm just kidding. Kidding, not kidding. I'm not kidding at all. No, I'm not.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So if you had to, and I know this is always like Sophie's choice when it comes down to when you ask an artist this, what is your favorite song that you have put out?
That's a good one. I would have to say Your Love. Your Love is my baby. I love Your Love. I like a lot of my songs. I get tired of them too. But Your Love is, I'm just being real. Everybody's human. It happens. Um, Your Love, I like Freak Bitch. There's a song on Motionless album. It's probably the most obscure track on there, but Better Than Me is honestly my favorite song on my Motionless album. I just love that song so much. But Your Love, I'd say a hard Your Love for sure. It's my favorite. Oh.
Yay! Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, for everybody that has been watching, oh, and there we go. There's Jaden saying hi.
Hey, Jaden. Thank you.
um, for those that are watching, for those that will watch in the future, and that's again why I love streaming to both Twitch because it's easy to follow, easy to get notifications, and all that. But why I love doing the YouTube live streams is that these videos stay there forever. So anybody that's watching this, whether it's today, tomorrow, hopefully if we get out of this COVID world, it'll be sometime in 2022, and it'll still be there. But I'm very glad that Jaden connected us, that I got to listen to your music, and that I will continue to listen to your music, and that I am able to use my platform, whatever platform it is, to get people to get to experience you, and hopefully there's some people out there that are going to go give you a follow, that are going to go listen to your stuff and stream it on whatever their streaming platform of choice is. If it is Google Play Music or YouTube Music, like I said, don't just click on the artist, put in Sugar Joiko and then hit enter. You get all of the tracks there. Go check them all out. Go dance around your house to it, because I don't do it. I don't normally dance around my house, and I was bopping and doing a little shoulder shimmy while I was unpacking today. But Joiko, I am just I'm thankful to get a chance to chat with you, and absolutely. And why don't you do a quick little rundown of where people can find you, where they can catch you streaming, all of that stuff.
Sure. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Sugar Joiko, SugarJoiko. You can find me on all social media platforms as well as sugarjoiko.com, of course. I live stream every Thursday on Instagram at 7 p.m. Soon coming to Twitch and YouTube and Facebook all at the same damn time. Coming soon, but every Thursday you can check me live online. I have new work coming out, and also support my new business, Joiko Productions, where you can find your artist beats and commercial music and audio branding just right for you.
Sorry, I wanted to get through all of the banners.
I'm a goofball.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. It has been an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to chat with you. Go give a follow. Go give a like. Go give some money. Go do if you need audio branding or you need music, go check out Joiko Productions. Check out the live streams. Tip. The arts are one of the hardest hit areas right now, especially in the U.S., because we can't seem to figure out. Everybody can't figure out a way to be able to do this properly to get rid of COVID-19.
Yeah.
But
started.
Right there with you. But if you have a couple of extra dollars, go check out Sugar Joiko's performance. Go tip, help make this new album. Go get some new audio branding, whatever it takes. Help support local independent artists. Go support anybody. If you're friends with artists, do them a favor and go buy something. If you've got a couple extra dollars, whatever it is, if it's a track on iTunes, if it's what?
Which I forgot, my store is open, you guys. So if anyone wants to buy online merch, I do have a store available, sugarjoiko.com. You guys can buy new shirts. I got buttons and I got a face mask. It's going to get better though. I got a dope design coming soon. But yes, my store is open. So yes, your support would be greatly appreciated.
See. So you can support your local artists and stay safe with the face mask. That's what I love. You can't go wrong with that. Well, check out Sugar Joiko at sugarjoiko.com, at Sugar Joiko on all of your social medias. Go follow Sugar Joiko. Go, obviously not today. Well, she was doing the live stream on Instagram as well. But any other Thursday, go check her out, 7 p.m. Go do some virtual donations. Go shop the merch store. Go support local artists, support indie artists, and most of all, be safe out there. Thank you for tuning in on the Small Business Spotlight, and we'll be back with more next week. We've got Monday night's digital game night, Wednesday night's digital game night, and then Thursday night we have our next Small Business Spotlight. So until then, dear viewers, stay safe, and we will see y'all next time.